Hey friends, and welcome back to another episode of Huck's Pop Culture Cafe. And on today's episode, we are going to check out the amazing work of Drew Struzan. And if you do not know who Drew Struzan is, I think you actually do and just don't know it. He is probably the granddaddy. He's basically the John Williams of movie posters. I think you know what I mean by that. Basically, if there was a poster you loved, he probably made it. Or if it was hanging on your wall when you were younger, he probably made it. So, on today's episode, we're going to check out the top 10 movie posters of Drew Struzan. Alright guys, let's dive into today's top 10, which is the top 10 most amazing movie posters of Drew Struzan, in my humble opinion, of course. Now look, check out this bad boy. That's right. It's a very cool coffee table book, chocked full of, let's see if we can thumb through it for you. Ready? Drew Struzan's work. Ready? La la la. I know you're probably catching a few glimpses here. La 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 la. This is taken from the back of that coffee table book. Drew Struzan has worked as a magician for over 40 years, rendering some of cinema's most iconic and iconographic imagery via the art of the movie poster. He has witnessed the rise of the one-sheet from humble advertising ignominy to collectible art with intrinsic value. And he has also watched the form decay back to its basic form as a mere marketing tool. So witness the brilliance from the beginning to the final painting behind some of the greatest movie posters of all time. I'm telling you, this guy is a master. I love so many of his posters and the movies connected to them. So with that love ready to go, let's jump into our top 10. At number 10, I wanted to start off with something kind of whimsical and playful. Yes, he's known probably most for his great adventure and sci-fi type posters, but the first one is a lot of fun and it's very whimsical. And it's The Adventures in Babysitting, starring Elizabeth Shue. I mean, look at this fantastic posters, like scaling the wall with the young actors crawling behind her. It just captures the fun and the playfulness that just surrounds this film. And that's what he does best, is he takes the film as a whole, captures the essence of that film, and puts it all into one poster. And I just love this poster of Adventures in Babysitting. Now, number 9 is a poster, I will be honest, I didn't even realize this was a Drew Struzan poster, but it's very iconic. And we are talking about the movie poster for the John Carpenter, Kurt Russell classic, The Thing. I mean, just look at this thing. When you see this poster, it just burns into your brain, The Thing, and all the craziness that comes with it. Because it's interesting, with a film like The Thing, you would think that there would be a poster kind of having like Kurt Russell's image over here and some thing creatures over here, and just, but it's a very simple poster, probably in my opinion one of his simplest designs, but a very effective design. So we'll get into a lot of good collage-y type colorful posters coming up next, but right now holding at number 9 is this legendary poster of The Thing. At number 8, I want to go with the Shawshank Redemption. Now, what's crazy about this poster is I love it, but it was not the poster they used in the theaters when advertising. So that's another crazy thing. They will contract Drew to do posters for their film, and then at the end just sort of decide, oh, we want to use this marketing poster instead, which is this one right here that I recall seeing in the theaters. But once again, Drew's poster of this film I feel to be a lot more just pleasing to look at and interesting, and he really captures actors' faces and emotions so well. So if I had my druthers, I would use this poster instead. And you know, eventually the studio must have agreed with me, because they used this one for the Blu-ray that they released. So I'm just gonna say, the power of Drew Struzan. If the man makes you a poster, use it. At number 7, one of the hugest franchises of all time, I'm just going to go with the very first Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Just look how beautiful this poster is. I just love it. It's got all the characters and his typical color palettes and organization of the characters. It's just so beautiful to look at. And again, this was the start of a huge franchise. And guess who did the music for the very first movie? Yeah, John Williams. So once again, if you want the best, you get the best. You pick John Williams to do your music, you pick Drew Struzan to do the poster. Now, number 6 is a very interesting poster. He was commissioned to do this Star Wars poster back in the day, but they didn't go with this one. But I just kind of love it for its uniqueness, and it's so different. The one that they did go with is obviously this one. That's the one everyone is most familiar with when it came out, this particular poster. And then many other posters came along since. But he did do this one. It's called Style D. There was like a style A, B, C, and D. And this was the D. And it's interesting because if you look at the way it's positioned, there's sort of these sidebars and stuff like that. And I got to meet him once when he was signing posters. And I got him to sign this particular poster, in fact. And I said, hey, I had heard that the reason the artwork is sort of pushed up and over with the side and the bottom bar is because they didn't tell him at the time, he was kind of new to the industry, that he needed to leave space at the bottom for credits. So if you look at the actual poster portion of this poster, you can tell at the bottom there's not quite enough space for the amount of graphics that they needed to put on. So it's sort of moved up and over, and then this sort of graphical side and bottom was created so that additional credits could be placed at the bottom of the poster. Number 5 is the poster they should have used for this movie. I know it's a cheese ball of a film, and they just kind of used more of a Photoshop-ish kind of poster. But I love Drew's poster of Masters of the Universe. This captures more of a fantastical feel. It just looks more fitting for the film itself. You know, it's based on a comic book and a cartoon character. So his artwork it's just electrifying. And I remember I used to work at a video store, and at a point, this poster came out to advertise the film on video. So they eventually went back to Drew's artwork and used it for advertising at that point. But I still wish the releases on DVD and Blu-ray would utilize Drew's art. Now, if you may have seen earlier, I did a customization of this film in which I utilized Drew's artwork for the front of my Blu-ray. So you can't get more iconic than that. So at number 5, Masters of the Universe. At number 4 comes a movie poster, again, that originally in the theaters was done by someone else. And that also was a beautiful poster. And of course, I'm talking about Blade Runner. And this is the one that was used in the theaters to advertise the movie at the time. But then later on, as Blade Runner was released on video and Blu-ray and stuff like that, Drew created this poster. And of course, once again, Drew has crafted an absolutely beautiful, masterful poster that captures the feel and the tone of the film and just fantastic poses of each actor's face on this poster. So if you're a fan of Blade Runner, I hope you too are a big fan of Drew's particular poster for this film. Number 3 is probably one of my favorite posters of all time. And look, it was tough. It was 50-50 whether I wanted him to sign the Star Wars poster or this poster. And I am talking about Big Trouble in Little China. I love this poster. I love the colors on it. I love the composition. I love the pose of Kurt Russell and all the characters at the bottom, and Kim Cattrall laying across the banner just above where all the credits go. I mean, this one is just a masterpiece. But it's funny because when I was talking to him about Big Trouble in Little China, he kind of said it wasn't one of his favorites. He said it didn't come out the way he wanted, and he can't understand all the hoopla why so many people like it. So apparently lots of people come up to him and say, Big Trouble in Little China is my favorite poster that you've made. And he's just like, wow, really? So once again, gaze your eyes upon the masterpiece that is Big Trouble in Little China. Number 2 is a franchise I am just so in love with, and it's Back to the Future. And he did the poster for all 3 films, but let's just go ahead and use the first film, the one that kicked it off, that started it all, Back to the Future. I just adore this poster. Again, it's his color choices and character positions and expressions on faces. He just does such an amazing job. And yeah, I have all 3 of these posters in my collection. I actually have I have a big movie poster collection in general. Back when I was younger and had lots of money to burn, I bought a lot of movie posters. That's the kind of thing you buy when you're single and not dating people. Anywho, I digress. I have plenty of Drew Struzan posters, and they're just phenomenal. I love the Back to the Future posters, even 2 and 3. They're also, I love how in 2 and 3, he kept sort of the same flow and positioning, where they're sort of pointing to one side and stepping into the car, stepping into the future car, then there's the train, and in 2 you add a second character, Christopher Lloyd, and 3 you add Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. It's just like the perfect 1, 2, and 3. So, holding firm in the second position, Back to the Future. And my number 1 Drew Struzan poster of all time is from the Raiders of the Lost Ark franchise. Now, he has done many, many posters for Raiders of the Lost Ark, or the Indiana Jones franchise in general. And again, the original Raiders poster was not him. I was kind of surprised, with his pedigree and track record, that they didn't go for a Drew poster initially. But eventually, we did get some Drew posters for all the other films. And look, it's a toss-up between these 2. So here's the one for Temple of Doom that most people saw in the theaters. But the B poster, was a thing of beauty. And it's this one right here. I find this poster striking. It is so good. I just love, again, the composition, the colors, the characters, choices of facial expressions, and just everything about this poster is magnificent. And the other one is the advanced poster for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It is very simple. It's just Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. He's got the hat and the whip on the shoulder and the snarky look on his face. And just the paint strokes in this poster. I don't know. It's very hard for me to pick. It's literally between these 2. So maybe the advanced poster. Its simplicity is just fantastic. But I just love this Temple of Doom poster as well. It's just probably one of my favorites. So, in fact, I'd love to know what you think should be in this top 10 that I didn't include. Because believe me, there are so many more posters we could put into this top 10. But I had to pick something and move along. And these are the ones I chose. So, in fact, some honorable mentions, I would say, would be the poster for Hook. That's a great poster. Another whimsical poster would be his poster for Police Academy. All the reissues of the Star Wars posters. This beautiful poster from Pan's Labyrinth. This great take on the classic Creature from the Black Lagoon. And this pretty sweet poster for Waterworld. So you can tell this guy has just done amazing work. And I just briefly want to mention quickly that there's a fantastic documentary out there done by Kino Lorber on Drew Struzan. So if you're looking for something to watch tonight, please dig this up. I think it's on Amazon Prime, but just look for it, find it, and watch it. It's fantastic.
I like Chewbacca in this one too. You can even make Wookiees look good.
It's got a wet nose, that's all you need.
Drew Struzan was the movies.
His posters are modern-day classics. That's not an opinion, it's a statement of fact.
I had to almost live up to the art that we later were going to ask Drew to create for the poster.
You've been very good to me. Very good to me.
They say I could draw before I could talk. It's just what I do. It's what I've always loved to do.
He's a storyteller, and that's what makes him very unique and ranks him with the great poster artists of all time.
So let me know in the comments below some of your favorite Drew Struzan posters. These were some of mine. I hope you enjoyed this video and the trip down the memory lane of loving all these great posters. And look, it's a lost art, guys. If you look, everything out there now just becomes like a Photoshop nightmare. they're just awful. So when a poster finally comes along that's artistic and beautiful, just, you know, embrace that. You know, it's very much a lost art. And people like Drew Struzan, who gave us these amazing posters, it's kind of a thing of the past. But I'm hoping that some filmmakers out there, as they create their legacies, find people and artists like Drew to make their movie posters, so that a different generation can grow up and say, hey, do you remember that poster for that they used to love? In the meantime, we still have all of Drew's amazing work. So thanks again for watching, guys. Do me a favor and hit like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time I do one of these awesome videos. And until next time, me and my giant old Drew Struzan book will catch you later.